Geno Auriemma. Caitlin Clark, again, the world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world. We just live on planet Caitlin. And Geno Auriemma, man, the greatest coach in the history of women's basketball. This is a guy who has won 11 NCAA championships at UConn. 11. More than John Wooden won during his illustrious career at UCLA. I guess that makes Geno Auriemma the most decorated basketball coach in the history of college sports. But he was on the Dan Patrick Show back before the WNBA season, well, before it really got going. This was early in the year. We're going to be fair to Geno here and place this in context. The season had just begun. The criticism was coming rampantly at Caitlin Clark. She was not out of the gate in the strongest fashion possible. The Fever were losing. As I've said before, they began the year 1-8. And Dan Patrick asked Geno Auriemma his thoughts on Caitlin Clark and the reception that she was receiving into the WNBA. And I believe there is a Twitter X account called Freezing Cold Takes. And I'm going to shout them out here because Geno Auriemma, we're going to roll tape on this in just a second. This is an immediate first ballot bad take Hall of Famer coming from the greatest coach in the history of women's basketball. But oh man, we got some whoppers in here. Sit back, kick your feet up, and enjoy the wrongness of Geno Auriemma.
The delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning. So if you're a WNBA player, and believe me, I've coached the best, and I've pissed them off a lot, and they let me know about it. But they were tremendously disrespected. And none of them are going to say it. But human nature is, okay, this kid's coming into the league. And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement. Targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA. There's a huge target on this kid's back.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin. I'd like for us to re-edit that at some point, and we'll just do the Family Feud red X buzzer every time he says something that's wrong. I don't even know where to begin here. Outrageous that she would be third or fourth in the betting odds for MVP. Right now, it feels kind of outrageous that she would be considered lower than what, second? Third or fourth is outrageous. She belongs higher than that. She's not on the right team. Geno, baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster. And we're seeing that. What else do we have here? Disrespectful, unknowledgeable, stupid fans. Diana said it best. Ooh, boy. Diana said it best. I would like to point out that Diana Taurasi, 6-time gold medalist now, because she dragged her 42-year-old aging bones over to Paris and got an extra gold medal while Caitlin Clark was sitting at home watching, presumably. Caitlin Clark's rookie year numbers are better than the sainted, the goated Diana Taurasi. Caitlin Clark's having a better rookie year than she had. Miss Reality Check herself, Diana Taurasi. I don't know how Geno could be so wrong. You take what Geno Auriemma knows about basketball and what he knows about the women's game, and it's an ocean compared to what Ricky Cobb knows, who just came rolling up out of my 50-plus year Rip Van Winkle women's basketball slumber, where I know Ann Myers and Nancy Lieberman for most of my life, and that's about it. But did he watch her play? Sometimes the eye test is all you really need, right? I saw her play at Iowa. I saw her doing, the first time that I saw a clip of her pulling up and dropping a three from over 30 feet, it was like one of those scenes in a movie where the needle goes across the record and the entire room falls silent. It was a what the fuck moment. What the fuck did she just do? I want to see that again. Rewind the tape. I'm sure Diana Taurasi has made some nice plays in her career. You think she ever had that effect on anybody? You think she ever had that effect on a dude like me who couldn't have given a shit less about the WNBA? I don't think so. Have they updated the logo yet? That's the question being asked on X by this account. Maybe you better. Maybe she is Jerry West for the WNBA. You think that would piss anybody off? Woo! Can you imagine? Can you imagine if she became the logo? It'd be like hitting a hornet's nest with a wiffle ball bat for all of these other players in the WNBA. I'd pay to see it just so that we could see the reaction of Angel Reese and everybody else, Kennedy Carter, and all of these other women in the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops might have a coronary if this happened. Let's bring in the international streaming star, my sidekick, Ronnie T-Shirts. Ronnie, Geno Auriemma's a pretty smart guy. Knows a lot more about basketball than you or me. How could he possibly be so wrong?
Dumbass saying that Justin Fields is better than Caleb Williams.
Well, we've got Michael Lombardi on this program today, and we'll let him sort that out for us. Of course, the former front office savant of the New England Patriots, former general manager of the Cleveland Browns. But I don't want to bury the lead here. We got Brett Favre on this program today as well, Ronnie T-Shirts. I sat down yesterday with Brett Favre for about a half an hour, and he was fascinating. So a lot on tap today on this Friday. We're emptying the bag on Friday here on the Ricky Cobb Show. But Ronnie, man, where does that go in the pantheon of freezing cold takes?
So in defense of Geno, I think he's guilty of what I'm guilty of, right? Is he's got a UConn bias. I clearly have an Ohio State bias. And that's why, I make my, what you can consider to be a freezing hot take with Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams. It's such a dumb take. I guess the veracity of how he said it was what makes it so dumb. Like if he would have just said, I think she's going to struggle this year because the WNBA is a lot more physical than college basketball. It's a longer season. She's just coming off of a college basketball season. So she's going to struggle. So just everybody slow their roll and let's just see how this plays out. But he basically said she sucks. And that's just, he said people were being stupid and disrespectful. Geno, you were being stupid and disrespectful. So I'm sure he was trying to protect, or he was biased towards his UConn players, but I think it was just the veracity of his take. I think he could have said it in a much different way.
Geno, you're better than that. But unfortunately, the internet always has the receipts. And that clip is going to live with Geno for a long time, I think. Speaking of bad takes, Ronnie, Chuck Schumer. Voter ID. Chuck Schumer says that there needs to be a path to being able to vote for the millions and millions of undocumented individuals. I still like to call them illegal immigrants because they immigrated to the United States illegally.
How dare you?
You do something illegal. Like if you shoplift, are you now like an undocumented shopper? The
Right.
semantics that we play
Yes.
now, it's so ridiculous. But people who have come to the United States illegally, we talked on this program, a week or two ago, Rod Carew, the all-time baseball great and friend of Super 70 Sports. Rod Carew just became a citizen in his late 70s. Rod Carew's never been able to vote.
He's been here 50 years?
But, yeah. I mean, his rookie season in the major leagues was in the late 60s.
Oh, then 60 years. Almost 60 years he's been here.
Close to 60 years. Rod Carew has never gotten to vote. And now we want people who didn't play by the rules. We got people who play by the rules. They're waiting to come into this country. They're going through the process. They're doing what we said you should do. That's what we're taught from a very early age in school and everything else, right, Ron? That there are
That's
rules.
correct.
You follow the rules. Here is the process. Here is how things work. You don't take shortcuts. You work hard. You apply yourself. You demonstrate your talent. That's what we're taught in school from practically day one. Probably literally from day one, right, Ron?
Yes.
And Chuck Schumer thinks that these people should be able to vote. Now, I don't want to talk about how bad of an idea this is. I'm going to let Chuck Schumer himself, I believe this is 2009, Chuck Schumer. Let's let Chuck Schumer explain how stupid 2024 Chuck Schumer actually is.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration.
What happened to Chuck Schumer? Did he have a traumatic brain injury?
No.
Because the guy that I just heard there in that clip made total fucking sense. So
No, Ricky,
explain to me, Ronnie, what happened?
He's corrupt. He's just corrupt. Like him and everybody like him, he's just corrupt. How can you feel that way? This isn't one of those things where, I thought things through. I talked to some people I trust. I was wrong about that. This isn't one of those things where you flip flop and say, I thought this thing through, and I think that maybe now that we should just have a free flowing, no border. Everybody just comes in, everybody votes. We just pay for everything. That is not what happens. He's corrupt. He's clearly getting his pockets lined with either money or power or a combination of both. But that is what it is. That's what it is with everything. These people are so unbelievably corrupt. There's no other answer to it. They are not changing their minds because they had a change of heart or because they got better information or because they grew and matured. No, they're corrupt, Ricky. They're just corrupt.
Let's go to current day Chuck Schumer and see how the stance that he's taking now differs just slightly from the man that we just heard from 2009.
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
And not only is he doing a complete flip-flop, and Ron, as you said, you're allowed to change. I've changed my mind over a lot of things over the course of 15 years. You're allowed to change your mind. I think sometimes changing your mind is actually the hallmark of a thinking intellectual person. I hope that I'm always open to changing my mind. But did you see how that was almost just a stump speech? He went to his, this right here, and you get the right to vote. Vote for me. The only thing that was left from that, the silent part of that is, and I bet you'll vote for me, and I'll bet you'll vote for my party if we do this. The Democrats can remake the electoral map if they are perceived as the people who got illegal immigrants the right to vote. Who are they going to vote for? Are you going to vote for Daddy, who was good to you and gave you the right to vote, and now you're beholden to Daddy? Or are you going to vote for the party that said, wait a minute, take a number and get in line here at the DMV? It's pretty clear who I think most people in that situation would end up voting for, and it's very, very, very fucking cynical. Very fucking cynical to take this position.
We talked about it. I think we talked about that on the show already. It's so fucking obvious. All the Democrats do is they just what does everybody want? What do they want for free? How do they want dad? Like you just said, how do you want Daddy to take care of you? So they promise that Daddy will take care of you. They get the votes. Daddy doesn't take care of them. And then 4 years later, they tell him that Daddy's going to take care of you again. And then these idiots vote for him again. It is literally rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's so obvious to anybody with a brain.
I want to be very, very clear. I have the same opinion if this was Ted Cruz.
Yes.
I would have the same fucking opinion. I don't care that it's the Democrats. It happens to be the Democrats. But if it was the Republicans, I'd have the same opinion. This is a country of law, and if we don't uphold the law, if we don't enforce any laws, if we just do what is politically expedient, and here's another thing that I want to say. How much do the Democrats trust Donald Trump? They think that he is the most corrupt motherfucker ever. And all we ever hear about is how corrupt he is and all of this and whatever. And this is not a defense of Donald Trump that I'm making. But what I am saying is that if you are the Democrats, why wouldn't you be worried that Donald Trump would use the lack of voter ID, to manipulate an election as well, because voter ID to me is part and parcel of this entire thing as well. How can you be against wanting somebody to show identification to vote in 2024? We've literally got driverless cars out there. Driverless cars. We're living in the fucking age of the Jetsons, and we're being told that it is an unbearable burden for somebody to produce an identification to vote when you have to produce identification to do almost literally fucking anything of any consequence in this society.
Ricky, it's the same thing every fucking time. They just say it's racist. Every time they don't like something or they want to win an argument, they just say it's racist. It's so lazy and cliche from them. They say it's racist. It's maddening. It is absolutely maddening to think that somebody can't think that a single person in this country, I don't care who they are, I don't care their race, their religion, I don't care. The fact that they think that, it's hard to get an identification card, whether it's an ID, a state ID, or a driver's license. It's literally simple. And if you couldn't do it, there are ways out there for people to help you get it done. They just are lazy and they say you're racist. And it's really hard to fight against when somebody says you're racist and you're not. How do you prove you're not racist? And they do it all the time. They're so lazy.
Ron, it's 2024. We're living in the fucking future. AI is fucking taken over anything. You walk into a McDonald's and you're just ordering from a screen. We are living in the fucking future. Who are the people who don't have an ID? And if this is some widespread big problem,
everybody has one.
Shouldn't the focus be on helping whoever these people are? Shouldn't the focus be, if they're out there,
Let's
the
help
focus
them.
should be on helping them obtain an ID so that they can live a better quality of life, rather than apparently only caring about it once every 4 years when you think it's going to help you win an election. Look, anything in life, if there's any sort of competitive thing, I'm immediately suspicious of the side that says, let's have loose rules. You know, let's have loose rules. You got one side that's saying, let's have voter identification. I mean, I presume Republicans are fully capable of cheating too. You know, so why is it that you got one side that says voter ID is a good thing and another side that's like, why would you need an ID? It's infringing upon your freedoms. I find it to be a ridiculous argument. But the last thing I'll say is, as a tax-paying American citizen, and I pay a lot of fucking taxes, and I'm sure you do too, Ron.
Yeah.
We're contributing to this society, right? We're doing what we're supposed to do. Neither one of us was born with a silver spoon in our mouth. Neither one of us are by any means wealthy, but
I didn't have
we're
dessert
living,
money.
you know, that's what I'm saying. You couldn't even get an apple pie, Ron.
No.
But yet you pulled yourself up by your pony straps, right? And here we are. That's a sneaker reference. And here we are doing reasonably decent, and we're paying our taxes and we're not complaining about it. Is it that much for me to ask as a tax-paying American citizen that only citizens should be allowed to vote in this country, and B, when you do go to vote, you produce some type of identification that confirms you are who you say you are? And I got one more for you. Paper ballots. Paper ballots, please. Let's have a paper trail on voting in this country. And I'm not an election denier. Okay? I'm not an election denier. I have never once said that I think that Donald Trump actually won the 2020 election. I'm not an election denier, but I think that all three of these positions, regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican, are common sense positions.
Yeah. Like, dude, like, it's just not that hard. And this is so frustrating. I don't even know what to say, Ricky. They are clearly trying to make it so there's just no question that they just win every freaking election. That's all they're trying to do. They just make shit up on the fly. They accuse this, they accuse that. Tell me exactly why why can't you write it on a piece of paper and drop it in a box and then you count it later? Tell me why you can't do that. Because that way
it worked for a long time, didn't it?
Forever?
It worked for a long time. It worked.
There's still some countries that still do it.
We live in a time now where it is more easy than ever to manipulate shit digitally, technologically. They're making fucking deep fake videos now, Ron, where somebody's talking and you're looking at them and you can't even distinguish reality from the AI. And you're telling me that there's no reason to be concerned that there couldn't be sophisticated ways. Now, look, I understand. Again, I'm saying 2020, I don't think there was any proof established about the
Ricky, it
Dominion voting machines and all of that.
It could
but
be
I
a
do
glitch.
think that cheating digitally, right, it's certainly possible, and either side could benefit from it.
Yeah.
If I'm a Democrat, and as I've said before, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican. All right, I'm from the common sense party, and I'm going to side with either party. You know, I'm pro same-sex marriage. I'm pro legal weed. I'm pro a lot of things that Democrats believe. I'm pro choice. There's three core Democrat issues right there.
Same, me
and I'm
too,
with
man.
them on all three of them. Okay, I don't see the world through the prism of I got to agree completely with one party or the other. I agree with the Democrats on some things. I agree with the Republicans on others. Okay, but you tell me, Ron, how in the world you can deny that we are going into a future where digital warfare and manipulation, and if I was a Democrat, I'd be worried that the Republicans could screw me over. I mean, they literally go on TV and say that Donald Trump wants to establish a dictatorship. If they really believe that Donald Trump wants to establish a dictatorship, they think he's above trying to cheat. We believe that he wants to be a dictator, but we don't believe that he would try to cheat in an election. I can't reconcile that.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.